Okay, this is class number 6. As you all know, this is the chip tournament day. We have a little 8-ball tournament. And again, like we did last time, you might remember, we're only going to use 9 balls, 4 stripes, 4 solids. It makes it a little better because that way you'll get to play everybody in the class. And I will handicap it to an extent if I see a match that I think is out of whack in terms of skill level. So I'll let you know about that as we progress. Okay, last week we didn't get a chance to do banks, and I want to do that today. But before I do that, I have a couple things. We have a guest today. You see the man in the corner. His name is John Keeler. He's our local cue maker. And he brought in his ware today, and he can tell you all that you need to know about new cues and how they're made and so forth. So take advantage of that. Also, my wife made some peanut butter cookies. So help yourself. They're unbelievably good, if I might say so myself. It'll go great with your coffee. Or beer, whatever you got. But we didn't get a chance to do banks last time, so I do want to go over that a little bit. And then I want to open the class up to any questions you have. And then we'll jump right into the 8-ball tournament. But you notice I've got the numbers on the table again, and I'd like to just kind of start there. And last week I did tell you that banks are an art form. There's a little bit of science, but science only gets you an approximation of where you need to hit the ball. The reason why banks are an art form is that very few banks are actually straight banks. See, in most cases, you're cutting it one way or the other, and you're imparting spin on the object ball. So therefore, you know, it makes it so you have to take into account a lot of variables. You know, the cloth, the rails, the angle of the bank, all that has to be taken into account. Let me just start by setting up a few what I call straight banks. Every bank, just like a kick shot, has what we call a diagonal track. Now, we won't even worry about the cue ball for now, but let's figure out the diagonal track of the 12 ball. All right, remember how we go from 10 to 5, it's not quite on there, 12 to 6. 12 to 6 is pretty close, isn't it? So if I hit the 12 ball on the 12 to 6 track, it should take me right to the pocket. Every bank will have that, but that's only if the cue ball is right on that line. If you move the cue ball one side or the other, everything changes. But this is on the 12 to 6 track, and that's with a rolling ball. Now let's look at the 15 and determine the diagonal track. All right, 2010, wow, it's almost perfect, isn't it? So if I set the cue ball on that diagonal track from 20 to 10, it should take me right to 0. And again, it's only with the object ball rolling. If I hit it very hard, it's going to come up real short, isn't it? So if I hit a nice rolling ball, and I hit the 15 right into 10 from 20, it's going to take me right into 0. And again, when you learn how to bank, that's the first step, is learning those tracks that the ball is on. Just so you understand, I'll set the same shot up at 2010, and watch what happens if I hit it firm. In other words, I'm going to hit a very hard stun shot. You notice it came off about a half of it. So that's the way you got to learn these. You got to learn to find those tracks that are good for a rolling ball to take you right into the pocket. All right, a few more. All right, let's look at the 4 ball. We got 30-15. Wow, it's almost perfectly on there. So if I put my cue ball on that track and I run from 30 into 15, and remember it's always half on this rail, which will take you to 0, which is the pocket. So if I hit the 4, nice rolling ball, and the 15, it should take me right into the pocket. And again, this will be a lot of fun to just find the tracks. 30-15, let's try one more. See if we can't get it right.
So are you counting back from the pocket to the bottom of the wall?
All right, the pocket I'm into is always 0.
That's 0. And
Always
you count
0.
from there. And
Yeah.
that pocket, you count 0 that way.
If I was banking to this pocket, this would be 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. I'll leave these on here if you want to play with them later. But let's do one from the other side. Now this is 0, 10, 20, 30. Now let's see where the 10 ball is. It's not on the 10, 5, 12, 12, 6. 12, 6. So if I hit the 10 into the 6, it should take me right in the corner pocket. And again, it's where the cue ball crosses the rail.
Did Harry talk to you about possibly doing credential?
And again, you notice I'm hitting a nice soft rolling ball. Let's do the 8 ball. Same thing. 2010 is the closest one. So let's get it right on that track. And if I run the 8 right into that diamond, it should take me right in the pocket. Anyway, have some fun with this. Any questions on banks? And you notice I'm hitting those fairly soft. And that way it's taking the natural angle. But again, if you watch good players, you'll notice they hit banks pretty firm because they want them to hold the line.
So essentially goes back to that triangle.
Right, yeah, the basic triangle. In other words, you're finding the base of the triangle, but that's only when you hit it soft with a rolling ball. If you're hitting it firm, you have to adjust. And that's the main thing.
Okay, what if...
And you notice I'm setting them on these tracks, and it's always not going to be so perfect. But this will give you an idea how to develop your, your awareness of how to bank. Because by using the numbers, it gets you real close. It gets you to the point where you're getting all your banks pretty close. Now this one I'll hit a little firmer from 70-35 and see how that affects it. All right. You get the idea.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, say, instead of the 2 ball being down here, and you need to throw it, say back here, to the side, that you can. I've done it before, but there's
Okay.
and you need to throw it into that side.
Good
Or
question.
even say you can't get to that corner. The only way to get, say you got 8 ball down here and once you get
Right.
a shot, you need to throw that ball on the side.
All right, what I would do here is first thing I would determine, Michelle, is it even possible to bank with 12 over here? And it's not. It's just too thin. I'd have to hit that paper thin that I might be able to hit to here or something. But if I was over just a little bit, like 3 or 4 inches, now it's possible. Now I could actually bank it in the side pocket. But a shot like this is low percentage. The reason being is because just to get the ball to bank back there, I've got to hit it real hard, don't I? But I can do something to help me out. If I use a little right English, that'll remove some of that cut spin. So this would be a reasonable shot. And I'm going to use a little bit of right English. Let me move this off the table. And I can actually figure out the track on this, which is about 8.4. But since I'm cutting it, I've got to go like to 2 to make it, because I got to adjust. 8.4 is only on a rolling ball, remember? Since I'm hitting this firmly, I've got to go to like 2 or 2.5. And I also need a little bit of right English. So that's always a big help on these shots, to use outside English to really maximize the angle for it.
But that's what I get confused
Yeah.
is what English.
Yeah, you would
Well, there's
never use left English because that would make it come up even shorter. Outside English on a bank will make it go longer. All right? So I use a little right English on this. And I don't have to hit it too hard. And I'm going to about 3 or 2. actually came up short, didn't it? Let's try it again. And again, every table's going to be a little different. Some are short, some are longer. And after a while, when you start banking and practicing these banks, you get a feel for how hard to hit it, how much English to use.
Do you still use the outside?
You're cutting the ball. Like if I'm cutting the 2 ball to the left, outside English would be right. Okay? Like on this shot, outside English would be right English because I'm cutting it to the left. And that means it's away from the pocket you're shooting. But if I have a shot and I'm cutting it to the right, outside English would be what kind of English? Left. Exactly. And that's kind of important to know because we call this running English. Like with left English on this shot, outside English, it's going to make the cue ball speed up and fly around the table really fast. So if I put right English on this shot, it would actually hit the rail and slow down, which is one of the reasons that you use English in the first place. So let's say I had a shot where I had a 2 and I'm playing position of a 9 down here. Well, you know what? This would be a shot where I would need outside English because I wanted to hit the 2 rails there, come down here behind the 9, and to watch as I use left English here, it'll speed up after it hits the rail. See, I really didn't hit it that hard, but that left outside English made the cue ball speed up as it came down. Good question. It's really important to know that. Now, by the same token, if I have a shot like this, which is completely different, what kind of English would I use to get shape on this one? A little bit of right. Because I think left English might take me to the side pocket, but right English is going to slow the cue ball down and make it slide up right behind the 9. And watch with the right English how it'll slow the cue ball down a little bit. Not bad. And again, English is a last resort. You don't want to use it unless you have to. Because when you're using English like that, you have to compensate a little bit. Because when you use left or right English, it makes the cue ball deflect a little bit and also curve. Right? Fred knows that real well, right?
I will never buy another.
All right, good questions. Any other ones you wanted to ask?
When you're getting up and preparing for your shot, that was really
the psychological part of pool is real important, okay? And I guess that's what you're asking about. What kind of mindset do you need when you're playing? They've done studies and they've determined that when you're actually playing pool, you don't want to have ideas or concepts in your mind. You want to visualize the actual shots. In other words, have images in your mind of what you want to have take place on the table. And this is by a PhD on the pleasure of small motions. This is one of his quotes. It really kind of sums up the mental approach to pool. He says the art of visualization is picturing in your head exactly what you want to happen and then letting your body go on a kind of autopilot to produce what you see. In other words, like Jack Nicklaus on a putt or something, or Tiger Woods, they have this image in their head of exactly what they want to happen on the golf course. And that's the very most important thing. You don't want a lot of jumbled negative thoughts jumping around, like what if I miss this? People are watching me. All those kinds of things like you experience in league, that that kind of stuff. Or my friend beat me and I'll never hear the end of it, that kind of stuff. That, you know, last night I had a bad catch in the league. I lost, I don't know, I lost it. And I couldn't all of a sudden even see the balls. And sometimes you got to get out of your head, you know, and back in your body and just feel the shot. Don't try to think the shot, feel it and see it.
Think outside the bar box.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Good.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. Think outside the bar box. That sounds like a title of a book or something.
Maybe it'll be my life story on
Yeah.
how I play pool and still have all my distractions.
And before I forget, I did have one handout today. You can just go ahead and pass it around. These are all the things we've learned throughout the 6 weeks. And it's kind of a review, kind of a checklist of all the things we've learned if you want to practice this. Are we ready to play 8-ball here soon?
Yes.
All right, let's just demonstrate the rack. We're going to be using 9 balls, and I'm going to have everybody pick up a stack of 6 Cobra chips. And if you win a game, you'll receive a chip. If you lose a game, you give one up. Every game will have 4 solids, 4 stripes, and an 8-ball. And when you rack it, there's nothing really matters about the rack except the 8 is in the middle. And you're going to rack with 9 balls. And this is so there'll be more space on the table and the games will go a lot quicker and we'll be able to finish. Because I have some awards and things to give out later. But break as normal, and Tom and I and John will be coming around to make sure that you got the rules down and everything. We'll be playing exactly league rules like normal. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand. I also want to make it instructional. If you'd like to ask questions about what shot to shoot or how to, where to hit a bang, whatever comes up to mind. Just call somebody over, raise your hand, and we'll help you out, okay? All right, any questions about that? So just rack them like this, with the 8-ball in the middle, and you can flip a coin or you can lag for break. And again, you don't need to even find out who you play. Just say, hey, you, I haven't played you yet, let's play, okay? And just have fun with it, And at the end, we'll just see who has the most poker chips, okay?
How many of us are there?
All right, 3, 4, 5, hi Lori, 6, 7,